Hi, I'm Lynn with Invest St. Louis and St. Louis Real Estate Company, brokered by Real Broker LLC in St. Louis, Missouri. Today we're going to talk about reasons that you shouldn't invest or reasons that people think they shouldn't invest. Primarily, the theme of this video and the answer, my response for folks is going to be stop getting in your own way. Right? I have a lot of conversations with people who really want to work through and they feel like they're really looking for a way to invest. But I don't want to call them excuses, but they really are coming up with a lot of objections that they're talking themselves out of investing, right? So what are some of those common things and how do I process those for me personally? The one that I heard all the time, I think I actually heard two things from my own father before I started investing. One was, oh, you don't want to be a slumlord. And he immediately assumed that if I was going to invest in real estate, that meant being a slumlord. And I'm not even sure what that meant to him, but he thought I would lose all my money. I don't think he feels that way today. We'll see if he watches this video and he can comment below and tell us what he thinks. The other one was, another objection of, oh, you just can't deal with all those broken toilets at 3 o'clock in the morning. And to me, this is really just somebody coming up with, and I've heard that from people that I meet, and I'm just telling them that I'm a real estate investor, and maybe they're explaining to me why they're not investing in real estate, or, from just friends and family when they hear what I do, like, oh gosh, how do you deal with all the toilets at 3 in the morning? First and foremost, in 10 years of owning rental property, I have had maybe 2 work orders for toilets that weren't functioning properly. One of those was at 6 p.m. on a Saturday, but none of those have been at 3 o'clock in the morning because guess what? It is not an emergency, right? Emergencies are, no air conditioning in 100-degree weather, no heat in very frigid weather, no water, no electricity during certain circumstances, right? And those we take care of. But the broken toilets really, to me, is just an excuse. It's just a perception that people don't understand. The true answer to that is if you're going to manage your own properties, which I did for many years, like anything else, you train people how to treat you, you work your own system. I personally set up with all my tenants that I was available during certain hours, and if there were true emergencies, they should call 911. And there are very few emergencies. If the building is on fire or flooding, still they should call 911 before they call me, right? If water was flooding from a toilet and that might be a situation where somebody would call for help to get it stopped, right? But very infrequently does anything like that happen. And so very infrequently did I ever get a call. I never had a call in the middle of the night. I maybe had some on weekend hours that I started to control in different ways just by setting expectations with my tenants. And so that's really not a thing, right? I think when we start to think about if you really would like to see passive income of real estate investing become yours, you have to change your mindset and think more from a spot of abundance, right? Let's focus on the income that's going to come in. And yes, you're probably going to have to work a little bit, maybe do some maintenance, but you're not a victim to your tenants, so you're going to set up your own routines and practices for handling those tenants. And if you don't have time or your job doesn't permit you because you have a day job, then you can use a property management company. I started using a property management company about, it was a while. I want to say 9 years in, maybe 8. when I went from 8 units to 12 units all at one time, and I was also managing renovations on 3 buildings at the same time. So it became a little much for me because I also had a day job of being a realtor. So it was a little bit too much paper cut, death by paper cuts, right? So I elected to begin paying a property management company at that time. And in another video, we'll talk about working with property management companies and different things to know, do, and be to be successful with that. It's not just to set it and forget it, any more than you would set your money in any other investment and just ignore it. So it is something, right? So no time for broken toilets to me is just another way of saying I don't want to spend my time focusing on how to create passive cash flow because I'm afraid, or I just don't, for whatever reason, have the brain space to focus on that type of thing, and I don't want to look into growing my wealth. Another one is, well, I can't find a good deal. I've had people who have looked for years and they keep looking and nothing is going to work. And I think that these people could move past I can't find a good deal, because people are finding good deals all day long and people are buying property. So if you're the only person who can't find a good deal, the outlier in that situation is potentially your processes. So if that's you think you can't find a good deal, maybe you need to look at how you are evaluating the deal. Maybe it needs to be simpler. Maybe you don't understand something about how things work. So maybe sit down with somebody like a realtor or another investor who can explain to you how these things are working and figure out, let's do, if it was me and you were my client, I'd say, let's go side by side. Let's pick a building and I'll pick one that I think is a good deal, and maybe you pick one that you want to be a good deal but you don't think it is, and let's look at it together and we'll figure out what those numbers are like. Another reason that I've seen people struggle in this area is because there's so much information out there and there's so much great education, and there are a lot of places where people have made these calculators, and they go everywhere from very, very simple calculators to over the top analytics that take so many things into account that maybe aren't quite realistic. And maybe they might be great measures of success, and they may be something that applies in one area but not in another, right? So knowing all the expenses that are definitely fixed is very important, because those things are not going to change, and you have to control those if you can right from the beginning. But many of the things that are variable have everything to do with you and how you run your buildings, or how your property manager runs your buildings. So for example, if you are planning on, I'm going to have 10% vacancy, you might have 20% vacancy if you're, not the best landlord, or your building's not really a great building to live in. You could have a lot, or your management's maybe not treating people well. You could have a lot of different scenarios, but you can also really take advantage of a building, make it a great place for people to be, raise rents to be appropriate for the improvements that you've done to the building, manage it well, choose tenants well, and find ways to encourage them to stay put and minimize your vacancies, as well as maximize your, that's an inverse relationship. Minimizing your vacancy means maximizing your occupancy. And then also it means when you do have a vacancy, minimizing the amount of time that it takes you to have that building or that apartment reoccupied. So those are kind of the knobs that you have to turn to focus on your investment being successful. I almost just threw my computer on myself and almost throw the whole camera down. Let's see if I can cut that out of our video. So that is kind of my response, or my approach to I can't find a good deal. I'm helping people find deals on a regular basis in St. Louis, Missouri, real estate is something that people are constantly investing in. So there is a way to find a good deal. If something is truly mispriced to the point of it not being a good deal, you know, there are properties where you negotiate the price down, right? There are a variety of things that can happen that can make a good deal a good deal. You have to want to find a good deal. So stop getting in your own way, stop talking yourself out of it, and maybe look for how it could be, how certain deals could be a good deal, and be willing to look at that if you really want to get into real estate investing. Another one that I'm hearing, especially right now, is, oh, well, interest rates are going up, and so I'm not going to invest. I don't know what the market is doing, or I think the market is going to crash, or, you know, it could be a million things. The fact is that real estate, most of the very wealthy people in the world own a lot of real estate and make money off of that real estate. It is a fact. And they have bought those investments in all kinds of markets. Maybe 6 months ago, the interest rates were fabulous, but I still heard people say, oh, well, I don't want to buy because the prices are ridiculous. Well, again, we've got an inverse relationship, right? We can have a low interest rate, but the prices are so high that people think they can't invest. Now, prices are a little bit balancing out, but there are some people, and we've removed some people from the market because they are afraid of investing with this sort of a interest rate. Honestly, this interest rates right now may be the best that we see for quite some time. So investing now could be an opportunity that you might not, you know, maybe less attractive in a year or 2 years or forward. So there's always something moving, and there's always a way to find a deal that works. You maybe just have to work at it a little bit longer. So there's probably a million other excuses. You know, tell me in the comments what is your excuse, you know, or what is it that's keeping you from investing? If you're one of the people that I've talked about, if something that I said resonated with you, ask me your question. I will respond to all your comments. I am looking to network with investors, people who are learning to be investors, people who are seasoned investors, and we can share knowledge with each other. Agents who are working with investors, please give me a comment below, and I'd love it if you'd subscribe. I'm going to try to put a bunch of great content out for those people who are interested in the same topics that I am, in hopes that it will benefit you, and that we'll get to know each other and find a way that we benefit each other. So again, my name's Lynn Hart. I'm with Invest St. Louis. That's the channel. St. Louis Real Estate Company is where I am in St. Louis, and I'm brokered at Real Broker LLC. Have a great day, and I'll talk to you soon.